The 1930s and the start of a new way to read time. Reference 515, the first Patek Philippe World Time wristwatch. We should keep in mind that not even 200 years ago, every larger region ran on its own time. This was determined with the help from the position of the sun. When the sun was at its zenith, it was 12 o'clock noon. This was as simple as it was precise. However, this became more complicated as railroads became more common. All the different times in different places made creating coordinated schedules increasingly difficult. Therefore, in 1884, at the International Meridian Conference in Washington, D.C., it was agreed for the first time that the world should be divided into 24 time zones. The Greenwich time zone was defined as the prime meridian. From then on, at least mathematically, each time zone corresponded to 15 degrees of latitude. It was not until 1931, however, that independent watchmaker Louis Cartier managed to find a corresponding watchmaking solution for this new world order. It manifested itself in the form of his Heiress Universal's design. At the center of his first world time watch was an inner ring divided into 12 hours, an outer ring with 24-hour markers, and 31 cities to represent respective time zones. This complication, which was put into a pocket watch for the historic jeweler Bissinger, attracted the attention of the major watch manufacturers of the time. Amongst them was Patek Philippe. Together with Cartier, the horology house went on to produce the first Patek Philippe World Time wristwatches in 1937 in the form of the red gold reference 515. Presumably, only 4 prototypes were made at the time in a rectangular Art Deco case. At this point, it is worth stopping for a moment to reflect. Today, the brand Patek Philippe enjoys such a high level of prestige. Given the strength and hype surrounding some of its current models, that one might almost forget that its legendary reputation is deeply rooted in the past. Patek is firmly associated with the development of the perpetual calendar, with many considering the combination of this complication and the hand-wound chronograph to be typically Patek Philippe. By contrast, its collateral models epitomize elegant dress watches. Meanwhile, the Nautilus is another legend whose significance articulates itself in the form of great desirability. With soaring prices at auctions and on the secondary market. With its countless horological feats, Patek is also responsible, together with Louis Cartier, for the first world time wristwatch. No wonder, then, the world time watches from Patek Philippe still have a very special appeal today, attracting an equally special clientele of collectors within the Maison's catalog once more. The 1940s and 1950s. Constant striving for improvement. While the first model, reference 515, with its fixed time zone ring with 28 locations, was synchronized solely to Greenwich Mean Time, GMT. This was no longer a constraint for the reference 542, appearing shortly after. The watch, with its engraved rotating bezel, featured 30 locations. With a case diameter of just 27.1 mm, it is known as the first individually adjustable world time wristwatch. Also worth a mention is the 30.4 mm reference 96 HU in yellow gold. Only 2 models are said to exist. One of them, incidentally once belonging to Jean-Claude Biver, was auctioned in 2020. In collaboration with Cartier, these watches destined the jet-setters of the future became an increasingly important matter for the manufacturer. In 1939, Patek presented the reference 1415 HU, the first mass-produced world timepiece. By today's standards, though, you're talking about a mini-series. The numbers of pieces of the 31mm model, which was in production until 1954, are still very straightforward, with collectors assuming there to be a total number in the very low 3-digit range. Only one platinum model is known to exist and was auctioned off in 2002 in a fierce bidding war for 6.6 million Swiss francs. This set what the then world record as the most expensive wristwatch of all time. This year, the unique piece was then put up for auction again at Christie's in Hong Kong and achieved a selling price of 14,650,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is equivalent to around 1.7 million Swiss francs. Incidentally, the watch was also combined with a chronograph at the request of a customer, the 1940 reference 1415-1 HU, playing a formulative role in the current collection, but more on that later. Additionally, together with Cartier, Patek came up with a model with a second crown and an internal city name rotating bezel, presented in 1954, in the form of reference 2523 HU. With the crown at 9 o'clock, the respective local time on this model is set via the rotating disc with 41 city names. To this day, this technique with an internal city name rotating bezel is used not only by Patek Philippe, but also numerous other manufacturers. From Moscow to Munich, time zones and their titles. City names upon the bezels of historical Patek Philippe models are fascinating in their own right, with the dials reflecting the state of global geopolitics across the past decades despite mere centimeters of space. In the past, time zones have shifted time and time again for political and economic reasons, and the naming of a city as the representative of its time zone is an indication of its power at the time. For example, the fact that a Munster rather than Paris appeared on exactly 32 pieces of an anniversary reference 5110 from 2006. For the Patek Philippe concessionaire, owning Ardel might be obvious. Or the fact that there was a limited series of 150 pieces of the reference 5130P-015 produced in 2011 for the Arabic region, on which Mecca was printed in green lettering. The same thing happened with the cities of Singapore, Doha, Bogota, and Taipei. In terms of the history of time, however, it is more complex when, for example, the Midway Atoll asks Samoa as a representative of the UTC-11 time zone because it enjoyed greater fame in 1942 following a naval battle. Or more recently, when Dubai replaces the Saudi Arabian capital Riyadh due to its growing popularity, as happened in 2016 with the introduction of reference 5230. For the Kunstwerk or exhibition in 2013, a corresponding version appeared with the two references 5130R-020 and 5130G-020, featuring a movable local disc with a blue inscription Munich. The dial center with the Gallic decoration was decorated in the style of the Munich coat of arms. Finally, the two special models, limited to 25 pieces, were fitted with the automatic caliber 240 HU. The 21st century, the world timer in its youth. With the passing of Louis Cartier, world time watches also disappeared from the genuine manufacturers' catalogs for the next 3 decades. The 70s and 80s came and went. The Concorde thundered across the sky with its supersonic boom from Paris to New York and back again. And when the flight company Pan Am also disappeared from the airports at the start of the 90s, it became increasingly easy to hop from A to B to eventually 3. With growing curiosity, generations of world citizens discovered planet Earth, and finally, in the year 2000, the platinum reference 5110 appeared, marking a new modern era of world time watches at Patek Philippe. With this new reference, world time watches made their return amongst horology aficionados. The complication is not just aesthetically unique. Many will see it as far superior to any classic GMT watch, and also extremely attractive in terms of craftsmanship. After all, the center of each dial in particular can be refined and finished in a variety of ways. Patek Philippe started with classic gilt finishing, before also showcasing cloisonné enamel models on several occasions. The latter was led by the reference 5131, a variation of the 5130 that had replaced the 5110 in 2006, with a larger diameter of 39.5 mm. The reference 5130 appears in 2006 in white, gold, and rose gold. The platinum version of reference 5130 was first presented in 2007. A mere glance at the enameled world map on this wanderlust-evoking model inevitably captivates any who sees it is the medal. Today's current variety of models has ensured that there is a new group of collectors among Patek fans. There are those who focus completely on world time watches, ignoring even the widespread enthusiasm for the Nautilus models or the distinctive charm on the rare handcrafts models, with their perfect craftsmanship and uniqueness. Today's current variety of models has ensured that there is a new group of collectors among Patek fans. There are those who focus completely on world time watches, ignoring even the widespread enthusiasm for the Nautilus models or the distinctive charm of the rare handcrafts models with their perfect craftsmanship and uniqueness. On a personal note, it was also a world time watch that heightened the author of these articles' fascination for Patek. For the manufacturer's 175th anniversary in 2014, the reference 5575, among others, was introduced as a limited edition of 1,300 pieces. At its center lies a moon phase display mounted on a rotating mineral glass disc. This moon and star display is so perfectly in harmony with the white gold case, the black dial, and the city names in white font that one hardly needs to contemplate about the popularity of this model. Even in 2014, only the best customers of the concessionaires were considered. And despite the €42,240 original selling price, more than €100,000 are now demanded on the secondary market for these flawless models. In the face of such a success, it must have been incredibly tempting for Patek to launch another ultimated model with a similar look and moon phase function. But if one thing is certain, it is that Patek Philippe, as a brand and manufacturer, always remains unpredictable and never simply thinks opportunistically in the short term. In any case, investment pieces like the one above by no means explain the appeal of these watches, which are in many ways so very different from the common notions of an aesthetically pleasing watch. They are more playful, as well as much smaller in size simply because of the many city names. If too much writing on the face is normally interpreted as a disadvantage, different rules apply in this watch category. Karachi, Oakland, La Paz, small watches, big world. The best time of all, the here and now. 2021. The current collection. The Patek Philippe catalog currently features the reference 5230 as the latest pristine world time watch, being available in white and rose gold. Particularly aesthetically pleasing is the hand-gilt braided pattern in the center of the dial. Meanwhile, in case with a diameter of 38.5 mm, is slightly smaller than that of its predecessor. In addition, the yellow gold 5231 is available with the Cloison enamel world map in price of 68,360 euros in more than 20,000 euros higher than that of the Gilak world time watches. At first, this seems like a big markup, but the detailed miniature world map with its colored enamel nuance represents a special value in itself. So, to do the ladies' reference, 7,130 models in white or rose gold, flaunting diamond bezels. All models remain powered by the 240 HU caliber. At the pinnacle of Patek Philippe craftsmanship in connection with world time watches is currently the reference 5531R. This grand complication, priced at around 5,100 Swiss francs, combines the world time function with the minute repeater. It is the first minute repeater to always strike the local time. Prior to this, watches of its kind announce only the home time with sound. The automatic caliber R27HU was specially developed to achieve this milestone. The gong on this model are not mounted on the plate, but rather usually on the inside of the case. Aesthetically, the 42mm model mesmerizes its wearer with a Cloisonic enamel in the center of the dial, which depicts the Levo Vineyard landscape laying upon Lake Geneva. One timepiece still remains, and is a very special one considering the history of Patek Philippe world time watches, the reference 5930G, which combines the world time mechanism with a chronograph following its presentation in 2016. As we learned earlier, in 1940, the reference 1450-1HU with chronograph function had been made as a unique piece at the request of the customer. At that time, it appeared in yellow gold, with a plasmameter scale and 33 place names on the bezel. Following the tradition of this exact watch, the 5930G was developed. It features the popular color combination of a white gold case and blue dial, a 30-minute counter at 6 o'clock, and a 24 plate with day-night indicator and a plate with 24 place names on the edge of the dial. Reference 5930G for the first time housed the automatic caliber CH28-520HU, a flyback chronograph based on the development of the chronograph caliber. Fans of the brand will know that even the best photographs of the company's timepieces can never fully do justice to the incomparable presence of a Patek Philippe in reality. In the case of 5930G, for example, the structure of the Gilak center of the dial is completely captivating, while the color play of the white gold case plus the combination of blue, white, silver, and black on the dial unit to create something that radiates both perfection and passion. Since its introduction, this new model, which is firmly anchored in the manufacturer's history, has only been available as this variation as well as the Singapore edition, REF.5930G-011, limited to 300 pieces, with a red Gilak dial. This year, a platinum version followed. The Gilak showcased on the center of the dial on the 5930P-001 is green. Green is known to be new blue, the one trend color of the moment. But just as the 5930G isn't just another blue watch, the green of the Platinum 5930's radiantly fluctuating emerald green hue isn't just the time, but has a far wider appeal. The current desirability of it is, by all accounts, enormous, especially since among the friends of the brand there is the PPP group, collectors of everything Patek Philippe makes in platinum. Apart from its great history and current color scheme, the 5930 also represents the most up-to-the-minute view of the world's time zones according to Patek Philippe. The cities of the Buenos Aires, La Paz, Sao Paulo, and Brisbane make an appearance on the time zone ring, while Rio de Janeiro and Caracas have disappeared.